the one big event which happened to Russia before, First World War, which was really consequential, was the Russo-Japanese War and the revolution of 1905 which followed. And Russia, of course, it was believed at the time that Russia, being sort of a European state of the white man, it would easily triumph over this. At time it was believed that racially inferior Japanese, but of course this didn't happen. So the Russian Navy came all the way from the Baltic Sea to the Pacific Ocean, traveled around Africa, for example, and it was destroyed by the Japanese. And of course, this Tsar Nicholas II and his advisors believed that short victorious war, it would strengthen the Tsarist autocracy, but different thing happened. So it was start of the revolution. Unrest everywhere in Poland, in Finland, in all the provinces of the Russian Empire. There was great upsurge of nationalism. There were pogroms against the Jewish population. And
or what against the Jewish population?
Pogroms.
What's that?
Pogrom is sort of violent riot against it. The word pogrom in Russian, I think it means something like destruction, and it was actually quite it is one of the words that Russian language has given sort of the world, like if you vodka and pogroms, maybe it is not the most positive words, but anyway, what happened was that Tsar Nicholas II had to make concessions. The first Russian parliament, the Duma, of course, this didn't last very long because for the Nicholas II wasn't exactly prepared to give up his powers, so he disbanded the parliament after a while and had a new one where there were like these all the conservative nobles and the like. So this was the first attempt at a sort of more democratic Russian representation, but of course it failed, and Nicholas II managed to restore order, but then of course all the seeds of the revolution remained, all the unrest, all the turmoil remained. But also maybe this Russian Empire of Nicholas II would have survived it all, because economically Russia was growing. It wasn't becoming as industrialized as the other European states as fastly, but it was quickly catching up as First World War became started. And people like Lenin, the revolutionary leader in exile, they feared that if everything goes as well for the Tsarist regime, as if no big changes come, then Tsarist regime would stay in power. And in a way, if there wouldn't have been First World War, there probably wouldn't have been any revolution. So it was sort of a peaceful development would have probably saved the Emperor Nicholas II's rule, but then
so he was the last. Nicholas II was the last emperor of Russia.
Yeah, and he was sort of he was not a very prepared to rule Russian Empire because his predecessor, his father Alexander the Third, hadn't really taught him how to rule because he believed he would live much longer, and Nicholas II was unprepared to rule Russian Empire, and it was said that his character was one of the reasons why Russian Empire collapsed. He did great mistakes when ruling.
Really? Well, how was he very young, or it was just inexperienced?
Maybe both. One of the famous facts, of course, about Nicholas II that he was under the influence of this monk Rasputin, who was, of course, not a good influence to have this sort of eccentric monk having influence in politics. It damaged the prestige of the Russian ruling family, and because he wasn't Rasputin had adventures with women and so it damaged the image of the. But anyway, this is one of the more popular facts. The fact anyway was that without all the war, anyway, maybe Nicholas II would have continued ruling anyway. But then again, Russia wanted to expand, it was hoped that Russia could eventually, if the Ottoman Empire collapsed, expand to the Mediterranean, for example. And this and the great power competition with Germany, for example, there was a belief that Russia could win a war with Germany, allied to Britain and France. So Russia sort of wanted to expand, but it was also afraid of the growing power of Germany, for example. And these were one of the few reasons for the beginning of the First World War.
So they had the threat of the unification of Germany and industrialization as well.
Yeah, although it must be said that Germans were at the same time afraid of Russia because Russia was rapidly industrially expanding. As I said, it was not as expanding as fast as other European countries, but it had a huge manpower. Population was rapidly expanding. Its economy was expanding, and even I have even read in one book that if it hadn't been for the First World War and Revolution, the Russian Empire could have become something like United States is today. It had a massive capacity, but of course war changed everything. So war against Germany, Germans of course defeated the Russian Empire in many battles, but of course the greatest threat to Tsarist rule became from inside. The various revolutionary movements, socialists, anarchists and so forth, and also from the nationalists separatists within Russian Empire, like Poles and Finns and others. So, and of course, war gave an opportunity to all these groups to fight against Russian Empire.
Hey, thanks for watching this clip of the HH podcast. If you want another clip, press down here to your right. And if you want to see the full unedited episode, press down here to your left. And last of all, please subscribe here in the middle. Thank you.